Today on Encore, one of the greatest and most successful filmmakers working today.
Well, let's try it again. Back to one, thank you. Why would you leave your house and go to the movie theaters? Well, you want to have the deepest, most profound experience.
M. Night Shyamalan's signature style of supernatural, spooky and with a twist was set in 1999 with The Sixth Sense. He's since gone on to make Unbreakable, Signs, The Village, The Visit and Old, among others. The writer-director is in Paris to talk about his new apocalyptic psychological horror film, Knock at the Cabin. M. Night Shyamalan, hello.
Hi.
Congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
You just told me France is your favourite place to do promo. Why?
You know, the culture, I think, is really built around cinema and the love of the art form, not just, yes, as entertainment, but really they seem to really appreciate the craft of it, and especially in Paris, and, the amount of movie theaters that are showing different types of movies. I mean, at one point, I remember they were telling me some stat about the amount of different movies that were being shown at any given time in Paris, and it was astronomical compared to any other city.
Night's new film tells the story of a family of three. A young girl and her two dads on holiday at a remote cabin in the woods, taken hostage by a cult of four armed strangers. Another holiday gone wrong story, akin to his previous works, The Visit and Old.
My name's Leonard. Well, it's nice to meet you, Will.
Why are you here?
I suppose I'm here to make friends with you. And your dad's too.
The film deals with a lot of the big subjects of today, a contagious virus, nature turning on people, online echo chambers, fake news, right-wing homophobia. The world seems pretty terrifying. Are you worried?
You know, I have a strange outlook on all these things. When I hear something dark, or I tend to go, why is someone acting that way? Let's say someone is, acting in a way that's prejudiced or something like that. Well, why are they acting that way? I don't go, wow, they're terrible, humanity's terrible. I go, they are feeling scared. They're feeling isolated. They're feeling that they're becoming marginalized themselves, and they're reacting. If you approach things with a kind of like everybody is essentially, wants to be good, but sometimes we aren't that way. And where have we lost our, relationship to nature and all these things, and why? I find it much more calming for me, and maybe there's a way out if we start to think of it that way, that why do we do things that are harmful both to others and the environment?
So what does scare you?
I mean, many things. I'm fairly sheepish, scared guy. I mean, I'm now, as I'm getting a little older, I'm feeling anxious. Maybe I'm starting to get, I describe it to my friends as old man anxiety now. I'm like, anything that makes me anxious. So you know how people, I used to hear those phrases like, oh, my nerves are so frayed, I can't, don't make any loud noises. Now I'm a little bit like that. Don't make any loud noises around me.
Among the 7 actors in the film is Rupert Grint, best known for Harry Potter, but also his acclaimed role in M. Night Shyamalan's TV series, Servant.
He sent me the script, and he didn't really tell me a lot about it. And I read it, and it was combined 2 of my biggest nightmares, home invasion and the apocalypse. And I think he's an absolute genius in this genre and as a storyteller.
The person with the most dialogue in the movie is Guardians of the Galaxy actor David Bautista, the leader of the gang.
This is an opportunity of a lifetime. Like, this is what I've been waiting for, because roles like this don't get offered to guys like me. I'm typically, everybody wants me for action stuff, but I want the deeper roles because I want to prove myself as an actor. So those roles are just super few and far between, especially leads. It just don't happen. The 4 of us are here to prevent the apocalypse.
The 4 armed strangers arrive at the cabin, demanding the family make the impossible choice of sacrificing one of them to avert the end of the world.
The world will end.
We're not choosing anyone. We're not sacrificing anyone. Not now, not ever.
Even if it means the death of everyone else in the world.
Yes. Even if I believe the world was at stake, which I don't, that's what it means.
You must have thought about that question while you were making the movie. What would you do if you had to make the decision that the family in the film have to make, sacrifice one of your own family to save the world?
You know, when the book came to me, my family, we all went out to dinner, and I remember the table that we were at when we had the discussion, and everybody was, laughing about who would get killed if we did it. So we were talking about it. It's hilarious. It was our family's very dark humor, so.
Did you find an answer?
You know, I was like, guys, you would have to shoot me. I'm the dad, you have to shoot me.
Daddy, let's get up. We have to go, Daddy.
You often have children at the center of the story. Why does that point of view interest you?
Well, generally family-centered stories interest me just because that's the way I live my life. So if I was single dude, probably all my stories would be about a guy on dates and then something supernatural happens on the date. But my relationship to my kids is primary in terms of where my emotions come from. So if you watch my movies, this is not conscious, but you could see the ages of my kids going from like Abigail at 5 years old in Signs all the way through until they're teenagers getting abducted in Split to young adults and that kind of thing. And then now again, I feel like, I'm thinking of them as little girls. I'm reminiscing of like Kristen reminds me of my girls. Now they're adults, and I remember when they were innocent and playing in the grass, that kind of thing.
The film is based on Paul Tremblay's 2018 novel, The Cabin at the End of the World.
I happened to be on a plane ride home from Los Angeles, and I had one of my little writer notebooks out, and I wasn't even paying attention, but I doodled a little cabin in my notebook. And I looked at it, I was like, oh, and I thought about what kind of horror story typically takes place in a cabin, and I instantly thought of the home invasion subgenre, which is my least favorite subgenre of horror. So it became like an exciting writer's challenge. Like, okay, Mr. Big Mouth, how would you write a home invasion story that you would want to experience? And with my book, I really wanted to dig into the anxieties that so many of us feel, that whenever we look at our phone or whenever we turn on the television, it feels like an apocalypse is happening, whether in fast motion or in slow motion. If you had told me when I first watched Sixth Sense that, hey, 20 some odd years later, or more than 20 years later, this guy's going to take one of your books and adapt it, I would have been like, you're crazy.
I was looking back at the list of all the films that you've done: Unbreakable, Signs, The Village, Old, Split, all supernatural, distinct, with twists at the end. Then I saw Stuart Little, which you wrote. It's nearly 25 years, though, since The Sixth Sense. And what do you think of it now? Do you still watch it?
I used to show my kids when they got to a certain age, but now that they're, there's no more kids, that I guess that maybe my grandkids, I'll start to show them at a certain point. But I don't go back and really watch that. I was at a screening, and they did a retrospective kind of montage of my work, and I saw moments from all of those movies, including Sixth Sense, and very, very emotional, because I know it's going to sound odd, but I don't feel like they were me, and that's not me anymore. So that was like another person that made those, and I can appreciate that person, but I'm not that person anymore.
In a market of reboots and comic book movies, is it harder to get original stories greenlit?
I guess the technical answer is yes, it is harder to get them greenlit, but I mean, that's all I traffic in, is trying to do something new. I believe that the healthiest thing for our industry is that we return back to that storytelling, the original storytelling, as the primary piece of commerce that we do for the audiences. We want to make them okay with new experiences. I think at times when culture feels insecure, we tack towards more familiar things, but we want them to have a broad palette and be open-minded. And I do feel a change, a movement towards that. Let's say like Everything Everywhere All at Once, or something where there's just a new flavor is what is attracting people. And for me, That's all I care about. So I'm going to keep trying to advocate for it by doing it myself, but also help others to tell original stories. I think it's so, so important.
Thank you so much, Knight.
Always together.
Always together. I will ask for the last time. Will you make a choice?
The government is trying to wiping out the history, or they are trying to ban the particular documentary from the public domain or the mainstream media. The government has something to hide from this particular incident. Otherwise, why they are afraid of being streaming across the country. The documentary, the Modi, the India question, it clearly reveals the role of Narendra Modi, the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, in the ethnic cleansing of this minority community of that particular state.
Unfortunately, because of the label of BBC, it's very easy for these people and the Prime Minister to brand it as imperialism coming back and anti-Indian prejudices and all that. It's not. It is the truth. And that is why they are rattled, that the truth is finally being told.